Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Richard Gear's Tech Reviews or Gear Reviews. I guess they're both the same thing. They're technology, they're gear, they're innovative, they're things that make our life better on a daily basis. So, most of the time when I'm talking to other cinematographers, other videographers, I seem to come across the same thing, whether you're a beginner, intermediate, or advanced. Like, some people aren't utilizing this guy. And this is a smaller 82 millimeter version, but this is a neutral density filter. Look at that magic that happens as I spin that around. A neutral density filter basically cuts the light from your lens to your sensor so you can get a more even exposure, so you can get the most out of the dynamic range of your camera, which I'll also explain what the dynamic range is. And these are little things that I feel like I'm gonna sneeze. I'm gonna sneeze. Hold on. Let me sneeze. Oh, now it's cut off. Wow, that's crazy. Okay, it's probably gonna come. That was disgusting. Okay, so neutral density filters. Okay. Neutral density filters are like sunglasses for your lens. So all the information that's being inputted into your camera, it can be collected on an even spectrum. So the real definition of a variable ND filter is a variable ND filter is optically transparent filter that allows you to adjust the opacity and knock down the brightness of light between 2 to 8 stops without affecting color or anything else. So again, if you have a fast lens, and a fast lens is anything that is 1.2, 1.4, 1.8, we can even consider a 2.8 lens to let a lot of light in. Usually when you're shooting at a certain frame rate, you have to keep that shutter open to a certain degree so you get this nice motion blur. Now that introduces a lot of light into your camera's sensor. So most of the time you're gonna see things, if you're open all the way at 1.4, it's gonna look blown out, overexposed. Even if you're shooting on RAW, it's gonna look like a hot mess, right? Again, I see a lot of people either lose the depth of field because they have to stop down on their f-stop or their aperture. F-stop, aperture, kind of like the same thing, tomato. So you could have a 5.6 and a lot of things are going to be more in focus, right? 2.8 is usually you get the whole human, you start getting a little bit more of that creamy background, and then you go into 2.0 and then you might have like the nose to the eyes in focus, but then the ears start getting blurry, and then 1.4 it's like you can only focus on the eyes and have that in focus and sharp, but everything else is blurry, and we start getting that dreamy, creamy, bocalicious vibe in the background. So these are all things just to take into consideration when you're a first-time shooter. There's a lot of creatives over here that are trying to obtain a certain look. It's just like sometimes they fall short on the knowledge because they're just beginning or they don't know where to source it. So again, this is why I created this channel, so you can get a better idea of like all these little components to obtain a very professional look. And a variable ND filter, I learned again when I first started, I had no clue how useful a variable ND filter would become to the overall professional look that I've been able to obtain. And this is the Peter McKinnon edition, the version 1, I believe. It's an 82 millimeter thread. That's another thing a lot of people kind of make the wrong investment with, is that they buy a filter size that goes onto the lens that they bought. So sometimes people have a 56 millimeter thread, which could be smaller, or they have a 72 millimeter thread. But that's another failure that I had done or come across, where I bought multiple variable ND filters, which are kind of expensive sometimes, it depends. you wanna, that's another thing that I'm always going to promote on this channel, is that buy the top if you can, so you're not buying the same thing over and over. Quality is everything in this game. You'll see it in your work, you'll see it with how it lasts over time. There's certain things, yeah, you could go cheap with, but I always say, buy once, buy really well, take care of it, and you're gonna see it hold its value and bring back value to your business, to your work, to your quality, everything. So Peter McKinnon, I think he did a great, you know, consumer, prosumer variable ND filter right here. It holds the colors really nicely. This was like my first pro variable ND filter, but yeah, always go with 82 millimeter or the highest millimeter thread, and then get step down rings to basically adjust it to whatever lens that you are using. Definitely recommended, instead of trying to do the opposite, where you have a small one and then say your lens filter is larger than that. You're gonna see vignetting, you're not gonna be able to use it. It's just gonna lose its value in your eyes, and you're gonna have to buy, you know, this multiple times over, and you don't want to do that. So I will link this filter by Peter McKinnon. You guys know Peter McKinnon, great YouTuber. He makes great products. He's for the people, by the people, making incredible pieces of gear with Polar Pro. This is by the Polar Pro company. It was a collab. 82 millimeter, has a 2 to 5 stop, 2 to 9 stop. I'll link that here. I think it's a 2 to 5 stop. But yeah, there's other companies out there. Once I really got into the higher realm and I purchased my Red camera, I would say that I went with Revar Cine. Revar Cine is another glass company that makes super high quality, you know, variable ND filters and other filters that of glass that I put into my Bright Tangerine, Misfits Atom, Matte Box. Yeah, Matte Box is super, super important to have, because this is what you put your filter in. Let me get the Matte Box. I have the one that fits this. I went with the Tilta mini Matte Box. It's a great bang for buck. That's something that is on the cheaper end that I would definitely recommend, because it's light, it's great for gimbal work. It's gonna hold this filter. Plus, if you want to put another diffusion filter on it, the more filters you add up, for sure your lens gets less crispy, less sharp. But these sensors are so crispy, so sharp, and most of these lenses, like the Sigma 18 to 35, which I have on here, are so crispy that sometimes you want to add diffusion. You know, you don't want to see all the details. You want to look like you have cleaner skin. You want to look like, you know, film is dirty, it's grimy, it's like a Wu-Tang track, you know what I'm saying? It's like Cream, you know, it's a little bit more rugged, you know, it's not a clean mixed song sometimes, you know what I'm saying? Film holds that grittiness, and I think that's why we enjoy it versus something that's a little more like a corporate style or a commercial that's, you know, it's just different. Again, I'll talk about all those things another time. I don't want to get off track, because I do that very well. It is one of those missing pieces that I see in a lot of people's videos that have you from that amateur look to that pro look, just by putting this on your lens, you know. And it took me a long time to find that information, but if I could give that to you, again, you'll see the difference. It really steps up your game, and again, it's easy to use. You'll be on the field, you could even be on a Ronin, and you're just twisting, letting more light in or letting less light in, and it does its job. The Peter McKinnon version 2, they have, it might be something with better optics, but I know that they had a collaboration where they had some ProMist type vibes. Tiffin is the originator of ProMist. Again, maybe another video, but I use the ProMist 1/8 on some of my videos to, I guess it adds halation. Halation is kind of like the light. It kind of pierces through when you see a window, and it kind of like covers again, I'll just give another example another time, but yeah, when you use a Tiffin Pro Mist as this halation, it's got this filmic look that a lot of people love but just don't know what it is, and that's important when you want to be a cinematographer, filmmaker, videographer, documentary type guy. It all matters. It really does. Anybody that tells you different, they're lying to you, and you don't want to be lied to in this game. If you got a hater, they're gonna tell you how to mess up, so you're not better than them, and I'm here to do the opposite. I got no qualms, no ego about it. I want you to be better than me at this at one day. You know what I'm saying? I take pride in what I do, and I think I'm pretty good at what I do. But you know, there's always the student surpasses the teacher, and you know, that's how a lot of this goes in the game. There's somebody that's going to master a craft and do it better than somebody that did it before them, you know? Because you gotta also take pride in your originality. Your identity is like your fingerprint. There's only one of you in this world. I always emphasize it, right? There's one of you in this world. You know, you are the fingerprint onto the world. Like, nobody's ever gonna really do it like you. You might be like 1 centimeter away that like makes your shot doper than somebody else's, and that's what's gonna make you special, you know? Like, so I just want to emphasize that, and you know, show you that, you know, you have all the makings of being somebody incredible in this game. You just need the knowledge, and I just want to be that provider of knowledge, education, insight into, you know, being better. And it's these little things that somebody will hit me up, be like, yo, why does that look so crispy? Or how'd you get that? And it's just like, haha, like one thing that just really makes things different. And yeah, it could just make your whole life more dope. I don't know if I covered everything about variable ND filters, because again, if you go cheap with variable ND filters, it's gonna mess up the color, it's gonna mess up the crispiness of your image. If you pay, like, a lot of what you pay for in this game is what you get. If that's all you can afford, do with what you can. You know what I'm saying? You'll already be a step ahead. But again, I will always promote quality over quantity and everything else within that realm of ideology. Just go with the best of the best. If you can, from the top, invest in yourself, and you'll be able to grow with it rather than feel stumped, make the purchase multiple times. That's why I said, you know, I think a great start, if you're going to start, is Peter McKinnon variable ND filter. Polar Pro makes incredible quality glass. That is one thing I must give to them. They make incredible backpacks. They make, you know, they're making all the diffusion for whether you have a drone or anything else like that. They're coming out with a backpack that's like 50 liters. I put my deposit on that for winter time. I think it comes December. Again, incredible company, Peter McKinnon, incredible YouTuber. I mean, an incredible product, and you gotta give credit where credit's due. But yeah, and then there's other companies like Rivar Cine. Again, incredible with glass. You know, a lot of these companies are like the Zeiss of glass. You know, Zeiss is another German-made company that is just incredible at what they do. You know, we as cinematographers, videographers, and everybody in between, when it comes to glass, it's the clarity. It's what's gonna make your 4K look. You're gonna get the best 4K out of your camera because, you know, you add that optical quality. You're gonna get the best out of your 8K camera. I can't emphasize it enough. You know, I use Tokina lenses a lot. I know I'm dropping a lot of names, but you gotta give credit where credit's due for companies that do their thing. Sigma Glass, incredible optical quality. You know, there's a lot of guys that do what they do best, and you know, I think what they charge for what they give is phenomenal. We can't put a price on some of these things because how it makes our work look at the end of the day is what's most important, because we're all striving for a certain look. We're trying to match what's in our head, and tools are needed. You know what I'm saying? You can only cut so many corners in this game, and I always hear people talking about like, yeah, you don't need this and need that, and maybe you don't, but it is going to hold you back by being within a certain standard, with having other professionals recognize your work. And that's something I had to learn in the long run. Again, what you pay for is what you get, and certain things you can go cheap with. It might be a piece of plastic that a company's giving out, at a higher quantity than others or whatever. But when it comes to glass, it's kind of like stone marble. Like marble holds a beautiful quality versus granite's cheaper. Yeah, you can get more of it. It kind of looks like marble, but there's a difference between Swarovski crystal. I don't even know if I'm saying that right, but and a diamond. It's just a thing to think about. And the same thing with lighting. I think companies like Aperture, Nanlite, they have consumer products that hold a high standard of light quality. We're talking CRI values. Again, other things I'll get into, but we're talking optics. We're talking about how to control optics. And variable ND filters are a great start to get the most out of. You're gonna see your lens in a whole new light. You're gonna see your camera in a whole new light, because a lot of these cameras these days are, everything that we can buy is so readily available. I always say the RE camera is such a great piece of gear, such a sensitive sensor. It's been used for most of our most loved and appreciated movies. And at one point it was only shooting 2K, and now we're in the 4K era, and we have more dynamic range than even those cameras held at one point with certain cameras, and this, that, and the third. But people made beautiful things happen with a lot less resolution, with a lot less dynamic range, with a lot less advanced lighting tools that we have today. So we have to fight to hold, our greatness in a world where we have all these things, and you have to, compete with that. But, just take into consideration that you can make a lot happen with what we can obtain for a beautiful cost nowadays. So get yourself in a variable ND filter. I'm going to link Revarsini's 138 millimeter variable ND filter. It's kind of like they have like a polarizer, which a polarizer gets rid of like reflections. I don't know if you guys ever heard of that, but when you're watching like a movie and you can see through the windshield of a car, it's because a polarizer is cutting the reflections from the sky onto the car window, which is awesome. Same thing, like if you're shooting into a river and you want to see the fish, get yourself like a polarizer that like cuts reflections. So you have a polarizer that has like certain lines in it, right? So say they go horizontally. And then same thing on the 138 millimeter other part of the variable ND filter. You have a circular one, and then you have a 4x5, right? And then the cross pattern creates more darkness, or it creates more openings for light. And so you're getting anti-glare, anti-reflections mixed with variable ND, which is like a 2 to 9 stop. So it's cutting a lot of light during the daytime. And I think for a lot of my kind of like pro advanced users who have bright tangerine, who have like red cameras, who have cinema cameras, I would go with Revarsini, because once you get into the bigger leagues of certain lenses that start at a 95 millimeter thread in the front, they're like larger, you need a variable ND filter system and matte box that, again, I had to learn the hard way. that are going to be able to hold those lenses and adapt to those lenses, so you can still get this little guy's effect on larger cinema lenses, glass. Again, you want to hold a certain quality and aesthetic to, you know, what you do, and that company provides that that standard high quality glass to all its consumers. And the same thing with Polar Pro. You're a DSLR shooter, documentary type of guy, you know, you're doing YouTube videos with your Sony, your Canon. This Peter McKinnon will do you justice and will bring a new standard of quality to all of your work. People are going to see the difference, and you're going to start standing out amongst, you know, your circle, because you might be in the same game than other friends, and everybody's trying to get gigs. And that's another thing. I think there's food for everybody to eat, but you're going to stand out because you might obtain this knowledge today on the channel, and you're going to be one step ahead of everybody in your circle and share this knowledge if you want. If you want to be secret saucy about it, you don't have to share it. That's you. Depends on what type of person you are. But for me, again, I like to share all these tidbits, you know, about certain gear. Hopefully that was a clear explanation on what variable ND filters do. If it wasn't, I apologize. I'm trying to get used to this whole YouTube workflow. I'm kind of approaching this almost like a podcast too. I don't know. I'm still feeling it out, but I'm finally doing it. I'm happy that I'm doing this. Just the intro alone, I got a lot of love on to this channel. Again, I'm Richard Gere, also known as Parlay of ONEiPHOTOGRAPhy. Welcome to the vision. I love all you guys for tuning in. I'm just trying to, again, figure out the kinks. Trying to be like all you other guys that have mastered this over the years. I'm just blessed for the opportunity to be, you know, to have this connection, to put my videos out. And again, life is beautiful when you see it that way. So again, get yourself variable ND filter, get yourself a camera if you don't have one yet and you're trying to. And I'm gonna talk about all that, which cameras to go with if you're, I guess, just beginning. Ones that you can grow with though, you know, I did the same thing. I bought multiple cameras, multiple ND filters. You have to fail, but I'm trying to stop you, not trying to stop you from failing, because that's when you learn the most. But I am trying to save your wallets, save you a little bit of headache, and direct you into the right realm of what to purchase, invest in. And I think these are great starts, and I want to share that love and knowledge. It's been great. That's basically it. I'll catch you next time. My name is Richard Gere, and that's it. Welcome to the vision. Peace.